And then we get Sabotage, which is, I agree, I like that one better than Sabbath Bloody Sabbath.
I think it's less experimental. I think it's more back to their sort of like their comfort zone, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And it starts off
fantastic.
Yeah, with the epic "Hole in the Sky." My God, it's just a huge riff. It's a wonderful song, and you're in for it. And then "Symptom of the Universe" is another popular one.
I really like that one.
Yeah, it's heavy, but it's poppy, and different and weird.
With like a very heavy riff, and then it changed into a funky acoustic kind of.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's again, they're branching out more here. You're hearing more attempts at different things and different musicianship than you heard in the first 3-4 albums. And like I said, some of it works great, some of it doesn't work so great. They have more money, they have more control, they have more time in the studio to experiment. They're not making now they've gone from making albums in 30 hours to making albums that take forever because they've got too much time and too many drugs on their hands, and so it's a classic story. But I mean, these albums took longer and longer to make, and then you get Megalomania, which is an epic track, another really heavy epic track. And this is to me, this is the last great album with Ozzy.
Okay.
And I think most people would sort of agree with that.
They were still, like in terms of drugs, they were still heavy on the cocaine. And you also mentioned heroin earlier.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I know, they wrote about heroin and everything. So I don't know who was using the heroin and when. A lot of guys in that era got turned on to heroin because when you've done mountains and mountains of cocaine, you need to come down because you'll stay awake and you'll keep yakking away and talking and chattering away because you're all wired up on cocaine. And one of the things that would bring you back down so that you could sleep was heroin. So a lot of these rock stars who were doing a lot of cocaine, they would get into heroin as a way of coming off cocaine. Yeah. So think about that world, and
I know.
And by the way, we should also mention the cocaine in this era was not the stuff that we think of these days, whether you've done it or not in recent years or even in the 80s. The cocaine of the 70s, the early 70s, was pharmaceutical grade cocaine by companies like Merck, by pharmaceutical companies. This was not stuff that was done by like Colombian drug cartels and stuff like that. This was done by like major drug companies. They would put out pharmaceutical grade cocaine that doctors could prescribe somehow or get a hold of somehow. So, it was a completely different experience than, what would come later with people cutting cocaine with bad things and, things that would be, much more harmful. It was pure, and it was a completely different experience. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying these guys were doing a cocaine that most people have never done.
And will never do.
And will never do, exactly. So, I mean...
Well, like I said earlier, it was a crazy time to be alive.
Yes, it was.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find here on the internet that Ozzy indulged in that heroin, which doesn't surprise me at all.
I think Bill did too. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if all of them did for a little while, but I mean, we're reaching the crescendo with the Ozzy era here.